Abraham was considered the pioneer millionaire. And tonight, y'all, we're going to go into his background. We're going to take a look at some of where he studied at, what they call Prosperity, or I call Success Academy. We're also going to talk about him being the aristocrat and what that meant, and how the uplifted state of his mind and your mind can help you to prosper. So as you tune in, get ready to understand Abraham. We're doing a series from the Millionaires in the book of Genesis. And today we're talking about Abram versus Abraham. We're talking about Abraham and everything that he got, and how you too can also do the same thing. So guys, my name is Kathy McReynolds, and I help people create businesses with biblical principles. So if you have a desire to start a business or grow a business, and you want to do it with God as your CEO and God as your guide, you have found yourself in the right place. So as we dive into tonight, I want you to the stuff that we're going to share with you and ask yourself, how can you implement this into your life, into your business, and make everything work the way for you that God had already planned it to be. So as we're getting started, and before we get started out here, I'm going to go ahead and hit that share button. And I'm going to share this to our group. I got my phone here, so I'm going to ask you guys to do the same thing. Hit that share button, share it out to some people, drop in the comments. Let me know where you are tuning in from. Where you are tuning in from. And also let me know what type of business you have. What type of business would you like to have, or have you considered having, or what idea you already have on your mind. And also let me know in the comments, why is it important for you to do it with biblical principles? Why is that something that's important to you? Those are all the things that I want to know tonight, so that we know who we got on here. But also, guys, make sure you hit that share and that like button, so that when we do these broadcasts, when we come on here and we share the different tips and training with you, you'll get notification. I know we come live every single Thursday, but we also do some other things at other times. So we definitely want to help you with that. Let me get it shared out to one other place, and we're going to go ahead. I'm going to set this phone down, and we are going to get this started. So hit that. All right, we got that done. So we are ready to go. So I'm excited about what we're going to talk about tonight. Let me switch over to the PowerPoint and go ahead and make this happen. So welcome again. My name is Kathy McReynolds, and we are with Bible Business Academy. And it was founded and started so that we can help people build businesses with biblical principles. I've been a business owner for 25 years, and I get more into my story in a second, but one of the things that I have realized, that unless you're doing it with God, is not even worth doing. So make sure that you add God into the mix of things. And we're doing a series right now on the millionaires in the book of Genesis. I took a lot of this from Catherine Ponder and her book called The Millionaires in the Book of Genesis. So I would highly suggest that you grab that and read that. And today we're coming to you from Genesis 17:5. It says, your name will no longer be Abram, but Abraham, because I'm making you the ancestors of many nations. And just because Abraham had to constantly hear his name change from Abram to Abraham, and he knew what that meant, it gave him a confidence, a level of faith that I will describe to you as we go through this, that I also want you to know that what he gave to Abraham, he also has that available to you. So today, y'all, you're going to discover and we're going to dive into Abraham's millionaire background. But did you know that he was considered the pioneer millionaire? Was that something that you were aware of? We're also going to discover what Abraham studied at Financial Success Academy, and why Abraham was the aristocrat and what that meant, and how the uplifted state of the mind will prosper you, will make you successful, and how to go from that competitive to that creative financial success and get out of stress and strain and fear and all of that stuff and so much more. And if you stick around to the end, you're also going to get exclusive access to a proven system for launching a six-figure online business. And plus, we have some free resources available to you that we want to be able to send right to your front door so that you can use them to help you grow in your faith, in your finances. And guess what that leads to? It leads to more fun, more freedom, and more fulfillment. So as I go through this, if you have comments, make sure you drop them. I can't see them now, but I always go back at the end and make sure that I look at all of those comments and answer those, even if you're catching it during the replay. So let me know which one you are viewing it through. And just a little bit about me, because you might be wondering, who is this Kathy girl and why should I listen to her? Well, I'll give you a little short background. I am from Akron, Ohio. I always say I grew up shy, shelter, and in church basically 6 days a week. My mom was a minister, dad, a football coach, left home at 19, lived in the DC, Baltimore, Pittsburgh area. So if you're from one of those areas, I like to know that too. Maybe we've came across in contact with people we know, right? Author, international coach and trainer, and just an introvert, I say, who loves to win. I was having that conversation with my niece today. I'm like, I used to go into meetings and I would stand at the door before I get in there and like, okay, smile. Okay, make sure you communicate with people. Make sure you ask them questions. Like, this wasn't natural for me. I was that shy person. So I had to learn to smile. I had to learn to ask questions. I had to learn to feel comfortable in those environments. And that's why I love teaching and helping people, because maybe you have felt that exact same way, like you just didn't belong, like you're always trying to fit in wherever you're at. And there's a reason for that. So I want you to learn to embrace that. I am not perfect, y'all, by any means, but I am an action taker, auntie to many, licensed financial advisor, and I've made and lost six figures in a couple of businesses. So it doesn't matter what you've tried or what you're doing. Just enjoy the journey, enjoy the process of it. And speaking of, you guys can get our book on Amazon. It's called Bible Business Secret, or you can order it from us at BibleBusinessAcademy.com/book, and we will send you a free copy of it. You just got to cover the shipping and handling, and also you can get our 4-in-1 planner that's also available on Amazon. Love those, that planner. And that here's the planner here, and I'll show you a copy of the book as well. This one has been used. Like, you will love this. It's great. So you can get this on Amazon, or you can save 25% by going to believeandgrowrich.org and ordering it through us. And here is a copy of the book as well, y'all. So make sure you go pick those up so that you can enrich and share in your life. Let me know how it blessed you. And before we dive in, I just make sure that we send our invitation for you come to join us. How we help you is we have membership programs, and we also have academies. So you choose which one you're ready for, and you have questions about, and we can help you with that. So let's go ahead and dive into our topic today, Abraham versus Abram. See, Abraham was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And that's in Genesis 13 and 2. So nowadays, people don't, unless you're like in Texas somewhere, you may not have cattle and silver and gold. They're not around. Now is NFTs, Bitcoins, and all of this different things. So no matter what season you're in, maybe you're watching this 10 years from the time that I put this out, whatever is the season, the currency in your current time, then this is what you have to understand what it is and how you should work at going to get it. And you can go back to the beginning of this series and watch all of those, because I go into great detail about this and the money and the exchanges and all that. So make sure you go back and you can find those on YouTube. While you're there, hit subscribe and like, and turn on that notification button so that you can get those notifications. So let's talk about Abraham's millionaire background. See, Abraham comes in the scene in the 12th chapter of the book of Genesis, and it begins by describing his life and when he was first called Abram and his tremendous wealth. See, Abram is thought as the father of the Hebrew people. Also, he was a great spiritual leader. And Abraham also became a man of vast wealth, which is why the Bible boldly describes this. So like the Bible is describing his wealth. The Bible is saying that he is very rich. I just read that to you. So when you hear people say, oh, you can't be a Christian or save and have money, that's like, why did God put it in the book, right? Why did he put it in the book? So as we go through this, I just want you to forget about what everybody else told you. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and we were laughing. He was talking about, I forget what you call them, but it was those, like, it was like a parrot, but it was a little dial that would repeat, and it would be like, but my pastor said, but what did the Bible say? You know, like, you have to know what the Bible said and become what God said. And with that being said, before I go any further, I just want to say, God, let me say a quick prayer here. God, please, whoever you want to hear this, let them hear this, and let their mind and their hearts be open to receive what you gave me to say. And whatever words that I'm saying, let them be from you and not from me, so that they're used for your good and your glory. And we ask this in Jesus' name, amen. So we can bless some people out here. So let's talk about the Babylonians and the background and all of this. His background. This is Abram's background. You got to like, I always feel if you understand the background of people, how they got to where they're at, then you can emulate some of that stuff. So in his background, his background gave him both a material understanding and a spiritual understanding of financial success. See, that, like, it's not just about the money, it's about the spiritual, it's about the awakening, it's about all of that and how to manifest it in his world. His life began in the Babylonian city of Ur, and the Babylons were an advanced and prosperous people. Like, that's what it's like nowadays we say the Jews are the prosperous people. That's what they were known for, by their indigenous techniques in agriculture, commerce, and finance. That's what they were known for. And the Babylonian citizens became the richest during their time, during their era. They were the richest. So you think of the Rockefellers, you think of the Trumps, you think of the people of today, you think of like Amazon, the Bill Gates, and like whoever is the top billionaire of the day. That's who the Babylons were. It was the Babylonians who first developed and practiced the sound financial principle we regard so highly today. See, the insurance, savings, home ownership, investments, and systematic tithing. It came from the Babylonians, right? That was their system. It was into this prosperous, advanced civilization that Abraham was born, and he spent the 75 years of his life. See, so it's important who you hang out with. It's important who you be around. If you want to elevate your game, if you want to elevate your life, you need to be, we always say, be the dumbest person in the room. Be around people who know so much more than you, so that you can get to the level that you need, that God intends for you to be at. And that's why he says, seek wise counsel. Be it like good company corrupts bad character. So you got to be around people who helps elevate your game. And during this period, when he was around there for that 75 years, he observed those wise business practices that the Babylonians used to accumulate that wealth. And as he absorbed the millionaire consciousness, the Babylonians, it gave him a material understanding of wealth and all that it could do to ease life burden. That's what he saw. He saw, like, if I do what I need to do to make what I need to make and make happen what we need to like, there's no burden, there's no worries there. Like, you're gonna have some, but money ain't one of them, right? Like, 99 problems, but money ain't one of them, right? Abraham studied at the Financial Success Academy of Melchizedek. And according to the ancient, and that's what we're talking about next week. According to the ancient lore, during this first period of life, Abraham also studied in Melchizedek. I'm probably saying that wrong. And he was a legend. He was a mystical millionaire. He who taught the mental and spiritual laws of financial success in his academy. So, like, you got to know where all of this, because once you realize where all of this started and how you fit in the mix of it, it will just free you to be who you want to be and go get what was already yours. Abraham learned this financial success teaching, and he used it throughout his life in this secret instruction. See, this is some of the secrets that we talk about, the Bible business secrets. These are some of the secrets that we talk about, gave him a mental and spiritual understanding of financial success and how to manifest it lavishly, not just a little, but lavishly. And when you look at Melchizedek in the Bible, the king of Salem brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God, and he blessed him. And blessed be Abraham, the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. Then Abram gave Melchizedek a tenth of everything. So, like, Melchizedek was the one that Abraham gave his tithes to. He was like the king of the kings, the top person back then. So these are the people, the Babylonians, Melchizedek, like these were the people that Abraham was around. So when you're around people who are thinking on a whole different level, you can't help but to have their success fall upon you as well, if you are a student of the game and you're also a doer. So when you look into Abraham, and whether he was an aristocrat or whatever the case is, historians say that as a learned man and a prophet of God who belonged to a wealthy Babylonian family is who he was, and they described him as this priestly nature, as being a true gentleman. He was a pioneer of the aristocrats. He had a giving heart. He was a gentleman. He was a leader. And these are the other things that you need to take your life and your income to that next level. And a pioneer is one who goes before. He paves the way and he prepares the way for others. So what are you being called to do? Are you paving the way for the others in your family? Are you the difference maker? Are you the one who's taking the bullets and the arrows so no one else coming behind you? This is what leaving generational wealth comes down to, because you take the hit so that the rest of your family don't have to. Is that describing you? Abraham gained an understanding of the nature of substance and how it manifests in vast wealth through think it, ink it, say it, and do it. See, that's the whole thing. You got to think it, you got to ink it, write it out. Jesus said, who are you would say you're going to build a building, build a tower, but you don't sit down and count the cost and put a plan in place? Like, you're not going to be able to finish it, and they're going to laugh at you. Like, this is one of Jesus's proverbs. And he's just not talking about money. When you're looking at running a business, there's sacrifice that you're going to have to make. You can't show up at every single party that you want to show up, or watch every single movie, or go to every single game. Like, you just can't do that, because you have to be the one who's out here doing, like, serving your clients, serving your vendors, serving your agents and your salespeople. Like, that's your whole job. You are a servant to all of them. And once you learn to put things in perspective, and you understand the root and the substance of how basic wealth is created, it begins to change you. Is that making sense? If you had an aha moment or something, drop that in the comments and let me know that. So when we look at the uplifted state of mind and how that prospers you, if you look at the word Abram in Hebrew, it means father of height, or father of exaltation, right? The heightened, the uplifted, the exalted state of mind, and the prospering state of mind. See, in order for you to create, your mind has to be at a different level. Your thoughts have to be at a different level. You have to be in absolute no, like there's absolute no prospering power, healing power, peace, or harmony in a depressed state of mind. They can't coexist together. You can't have anger in your life or depression in your life and create wealth. They don't coexist together. Negative, depressing thinking scares the wealth away from you, and it detracts that away from you. You have to understand that you are attracting all of this to you. So Abraham's first financial success secret that you can learn from and that you can pick up through the actions of his life, and we're going to reveal that and talk about that, is by developing an uplifted state of mind in which you're able to manifest abundance and manifest success and manifest wealth into your life. And this is why Abraham has been described as the man of faith, because he did that thing. He made it happen. He figured out this financial success secret, and that ancient people knew that the only thing that can make something happen was God and your belief in him, and that's faith. Faith moves substance. Faith moves everything. Faith moves mountains. Faith moves, and like God said, without faith it's impossible to please him. So faith is that first financial success secret that you must understand, that is so important for you to be able to get into, to understand that the events of Abraham's life even shows you how your simple acts of faith can move on the lavish substance of the universe and manifest it in increased abundance in the world. So faith, number one, right? Abraham's first act of faith was to follow the Lord's command to get out of the country he had occupied for 75 years. So, like, if this was his first act of faith, and I didn't say that, this is in Genesis 12, 1-2, right? And it says, and to go into a new land in which the Lord promised to bless him to make him great. So I ask you this question. If you're 75 years old and you get a message from God to say, okay, go over here, and I need you to start this business over here and do this because this is what I have. Now is your season. Now is your time. Are you gonna do it? Are you going to take action? Are you gonna have faith? I remember one of my mentors, Art Williams, used to say, you gotta stay excited long enough to get the job done, whether it's 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 75 years. It doesn't matter the time span. It's the journey that you went throughout the process in order to get it done. Are you willing to be obedient? Are you willing to have that faith? And see, when you do this, it takes you from being competitive and thinking that you got to you got to outdo someone else, or somebody else will get your thing, or somebody else was. No, see, what's for you is for you. What God has for you, only you can take that away from you, and only you can give that to you by your faith that you have. No seed money, no, we were just talking about this OPM, no credit score, no person, no job, no business. Like God is the one who gives you the power to create wealth, and we must remember that fact. It is him who gives us that ability. So what act of faith is God asking you to take today? That's the question that I want you to pause it right here if you're catching and doing the replay, or rewind it, or go back and re-listen to this over and ask yourself, what act of faith is God asking you to take today? And if you're like not sure, make sure you go to our YouTube channel and check out the is God calling you to start a business, because it goes through a series of questions that it allows you to see, okay, yeah, this is what I'm being called to do. So you can find that on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe while you're over there. And then the next question I have for you, are you willing to step out on faith? Are you willing to be like Abraham at 75? So even if you're old and you're watching this, you don't need to be like, well, I'm too old to do this. No, you're not. I'll be 60 next year. Well, yeah, next year. Isn't it? I think so. Or the year after that. But guess what, guys? I'm just getting started, even though I've been in business for 25 years. So it doesn't matter where you're at in your journey. You just have to know that, is it your faith season? Is it your season that you're going to step into that faith and never lose that? And we're going to talk about that in a second. So I want to share with you how you can go from a competitive to creative financial success. So you never want to be the only person you're going to compete against is yourself. You never want to be in competition with anyone else. So here's what's happened. Let's go through his steps. He departed from Babylon, which symbolized leaving a material and competitive consciousness, because that's the Babylonian system. It was material, it was competitive, of financial success, of creating that level of success. Like that's what the Babylonian system was about, and a lot of people are still under. Many people who are striving to be a successful are still in a physical, sweat of the brow, hard work consciousness. They think that's the only way they can accumulate wealth, that they go through that, oh, I got to work hard. I got to do all this physical work. I got to do that. And then they falsely believe that they must compete for wealth. You don't have to, like, how you going to compete for something that already belongs to you? If you had an earthly parent who was wealthy as wealthy can be, and they loved you, and they loved all the children you had, and they wanted to give you their money, you don't have to compete for that. They're going to give it to you. Like if you have children and you're wealthy, and you love your children, and they don't have to compete. They don't have to compete for the shoes. They don't have to compete for the clothes. They don't have to compete for the vacation, because you are their parent. You love them, and you're just going to give it to them because you love them. Like, so accept that. That's what God wants to do. He wants to just give it to you because he loves you, because he don't want you to worry about stuff. He don't want you, but he also don't want you to abuse and use stuff, right? He loves you. So just know that he loves you. And this is why he wants to make sure that the worries, you don't have them. He wants you to cast your cares on him. And money is one of those cares that most people focus on. There's more scriptures in the Bible on money and debt and wealth and stuff like that than it is on your spirituality, because he knew throughout the entire existence you will always have to pay for something in order to stay somewhere, to eat something, to get something. It was always bartering, right? So he wanted to position you where that's not even a word of yours. The only thing you can focus on, or you think about focusing on, is honoring him, growing his kingdom, and getting it to where doing God's will. So with that, let's go into Abraham's journey into the land of Canaan. And if you got a question on what we just talked about as we go through this, make sure you put them in the comments so we can come back and we can have that discussion on that. See, his journey into the land of Canaan, it symbolized the development of a creative consciousness of financial success. So what is your journey? What did you have to go through, and where do you have to get to, and what are you feeling inside of you that is moving you in a new direction, something that is unfamiliar, is uncomfortable, and something that you're not used to. And no, you don't have to compete for this wealth, because it's visible, it's there for you. New wealth is created from the invisible substance of the universe through prosperous thinking. It's about thinking it, it's about inking it, it's about saying it, and it's about doing it. So drop that in the comments. Think it, ink it, say it, do it. Think it, ink it, say it, do it. You're going to hear me say that throughout this presentation. Think it, ink it, say it, do it. See, the land of Canaan symbolized that rich realm of substance that was waiting. Like you say to your kid, hey, go get my purse, go get my wallet. I got some money. I want to give it to you. It is already there. Like, so look at the land of Canaan like your purse or your wallet, and it's already there for you, and you want to give it to them, right? That's what you have to look at. But it took some things to get into the land of Canaan. And that's what we're going to talk about. See, most of us are in the process of growing out of competitive hard work consciousness of financial success into that creative level of financial success. So wherever you're at, whether you are just going through, you're in the middle of it, or you just exited, let me know in the comments where you're at in your journey, because it's the journey, it's in the process. We grow in our understanding through the realms of the substance in order to get to the land of Canaan. We grow through our process, through our journey. We learn to mold the rich realm of substance with our prosperous think it, ink it, and say it, and do it, right? The realm of substance, also your everlasting possession, is something that riches can come, the different currencies can come, but this, what we're talking about, this your ability to deliberately employ prosperous thoughts, and then to take those thoughts and write them down, and then to say them out of your mouth and do it. Nobody can ever take that from you. You can be down. If you guys hear some of my stories about when I lost everything in 2008, I remember, coming back here, deciding I was going to go to work at the bank, and 13 years I was into, my own business. And I'm like, I remember quitting, and then I woke up. I remember waking up halfway through that journey, and I was like, yo, whoa, you may have left every material thing back there, but guess what came back? You have, wherever you at is where you go. And inside of you, there's a winner. Inside of you, there's somebody who always bounce back, who always win, and then they win bigger. Inside of you is greatness. See, that's the kind of conversation you have to have with yourself. That's the conversation. Nobody else could tell me that but me. And that's what you have to do. And how did I get that revelation? Because I'm a child of God. I'm made in his image, right? I wasn't into the word as I am now, as I was back then, but I didn't know that he did, when he made me, he didn't make any junk, right? I knew I had greatness. I'm a McReynolds, right? That's like, you gotta be like, yeah, I got this. Not in an arrogant way, but in a way that just give God the glory for making you in his image, and knowing that you have greatness in you. You have to recognize who's your daddy. Y'all hear me saying that all the time. You got to recognize who your daddy is, right? And if God is that, like, that's your father. He wants to take care of you because he loves you. See, the land of Canaan was given to Abraham's heirs by Jehovah, by God, for an everlasting possession. It's a gift to every one of us. And you can find that in Genesis 17:8. So knowing that, it just like, you don't have to fight for it. You just have to think for it. You just have to come up with an idea, and then you have to ink that idea, and then you have to say that idea, and then you have to do that. Like, before I put this book together, guess what? It was an idea. This camera that I'm speaking into, guess what? It was an idea for someone. Everything begins with an idea. How many ideas have been given to you and you set them aside? You didn't give them another thought, and then you see somebody else come out with that same idea, and you're like, dang, I had that idea. Well, guess what? If you don't use it, you're going to lose it, and somebody else is going to use it, and they're going to grow and prosper from it. So this is like, I really want you to get this. I really want you to understand that you're one idea away from completely not only changing your life, but generations. And that's what it's about. It's not even about the money. It's about becoming who God you to be. So getting into the land of Canaan, in Genesis 17:8, it says, and I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. Like, God already told us, like, this is yours forever. You will have abundance. You will have wealth. This is your inheritance, because you're my people. You're my children. You're the ones who I love. So this is what I want to give you. Do you want it? You can have it, but here's how you got to get it. It's through faith, y'all, right? So do you really want to get into the land of Canaan? Do you really want to get there? Or is stress and fear and anger and all of that stuff holding you back? You got to ask yourself those questions. Is that holding you back? And so because that's a fact that is holding people back, I also want I want you to be able to recognize when you're in a stress and fear mode, and then how to get out of that. So if you're in a material and competitive consciousness, if you're always trying to compete, if you're scrolling through Facebook looking at what somebody else is doing, if they're in the same type of business, or you're driving down the street looking at somebody else's business, saying, turning up your nose or having something to say, then you're in that competitive. That's blocking your blessings. That's blocking what you need to have happen. See, Abram didn't leave the old country. He left an affluent one, right? To go into a land of like wishes, dreams. If you're in a competitive state of mind and depend on people or conditions for your financial success, and you panic if the people and conditions don't connect with your financial success, and it all goes away or things changes, then you're blocking your blessings. It's like the time that I'm putting this out, we're in this pandemic of the world, where a lot of people were dependent on, what the government provided or what this person or that person. No, God provided it all, right? You got to know who your source is. I don't care if it's your job, your business, God is always your source, and you have to know and understand that. So you're in a constant uproar over world conditions and economic trends. You're always talking about what's happening. Oh, the market is up, the market is down, or people ain't buying this. Like, Art used to say, people be like, well, houses ain't selling. He's like, well, selling anyway. Right? No matter what it is, just do it. It doesn't matter what the conditions are around you. You were equipped and already promised to have success. So all you need to know is go do what you've been told to do, the ideas that have popped in your head, get the counsel about it, and don't feel hopeless, helpless, and like a victim. These are the things that block your blessings. See, when you start to blame, my niece and I were just talking about this today. You either blame it or you're a victim. If you blame it or you're a victim, you're not going to be prosperous. You're not going to fulfill your destination, to live out your calling. So you want to stop the blame. Blaming is laming, right? Being the victim is trying to think of a sictum. I don't know. I'm trying to rhyme, right? But I'm just saying, you are responsible. That person in the mirror, Michael Jackson used to say, the man in the mirror, the man or the woman in the mirror. You have that mirror moment where you get down and you look at yourself and you say, regardless of the situations and circumstances that face me, I know what was promised to me, and God don't lie, and I'm going to go get it. I'm going to go make it happen. So your life and business is a vicious circle of financial uncertainty, strains, and toxic fear. If all of that is in your life right now, you better check yourself, as they say, before you wreck yourself. But I want to share with you how to get out of that fear and stress mode, and getting out of the old country. To you, it might be getting out of that old job. It might be getting out of that old business. It might be getting out of that old relationship. It might be getting out of that old town. It might be getting out of that old neighborhood, that city, that state, that country. Whatever is holding you back, it might mean that you, as Abraham did, at 75, you need to step out on faith and exercise that. See, Abram was trying to show us that we must let go of our current situations, because those current situations is what's holding us back. We must let go of our limiting thoughts and ideas about the source of our supply. We must recognize that God, not man, is the true source of all of our good. Can I get an amen? Like, if you're relating to this, just like put some amen in the comments there. What source are you holding on to? Like, what are you holding on to? Are you holding on to the income coming in for your spouse? Are you holding in on to the income coming in from the government? Are you holding, like, what are you holding on to that's stopping you from getting to what you really should be getting to, and not letting go and letting God? When you start thinking about this stuff, it helps to help you to get out of the stress and fear mode. And you also, in one of the things that can help you get out of that mode is have a daily financial success statement. Here's one, for example: I do not depend upon persons or conditions for my success. God is the source of my supply, and God provides his own amazing channels of prosperity to me now. Let me repeat that. I do not depend on persons or conditions for my success. God is the source of my supply, and God provides his own amazing channels of prosperity to me now. Like, God got his channels. He don't need my help with that. He don't need Bob, Sue, it don't matter who it is. He don't need their help with that. He is the supplier of everything. And as you continue to affirm him as a supplier, as the source of your financial success, peoples and conditions will adjust to that. They'll adjust to your success consciousness. They'll do what God needs them to do. He'll, like, you know how many examples you see in the Bible and outside of the Bible where this person said, well, God told me to do this. The man upstairs told me to help you, right? He knows how to make things happen. Have faith in him. Let him be that difference maker for you. See the vast benefits of having a creative level of success mindset. See, all this is about your mind. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. See, on that creative level of success, you work for the joy of it. Like I was telling somebody today, I was like, it's the thrill of the hunt. It's the excitement. It's like creating something that wasn't, and now it is. Something that you imagine, and now you see it. Like, and you go through the process. You got to fall in love with the journey of it. You got to fall in love with the creation of it. And see, here's why it doesn't matter who try to copy you, or it doesn't make sense for you to try to copy, because what you don't see is that person's drive, that will to win, that will to get and believe and to have what God already said was for them. These are the things that you have to look at. None of that stuff matters because you know where your source is coming from. So instead of working to make a living, you're busy making a life. And that's so much more than trying to make a living instead of chasing dollars. Like, you hear so much, oh yeah, I'm chasing the dollars, I'm hot. No, you don't have to chase dollars. Dollars chase you. That's how it works. You go from competitive to that creative level of success, understanding that you can still talk about money, right? You can still do the money math. Even in my planner here, I have a place where right here, it talks about today and enlarging your territory. And it goes into the money you want to make, how many customers you need to make that money. Yeah, because that's part of what you're planning. Put the plan in place. Know what you want to make $1 million. You need 200 people to do it. If you have 5,000 people $5,000 that you're charging, you need to understand that. If you charge 10,000, then you need 100 people, and you make $1 million. If you want to make $1 million and you're making a $25,000 a profit off that, you need 50 people. Like, you need to understand and know the money math, right? You need to understand and know what you need to do. It's just not like, oh, I want it. Like, no, that, like, put it on paper, write it out. This is what the word says to do. So this is what we want to do. And on the creative supply, it's been established that success may be the result of 98% mental preparation and 2% outer action. So it's all like, take time to sit, to meditate, to think, to journal. You get to do all of that in that planner. See, when you're building something, it's like, I equate it to being like pregnant, right? Even though I've never been pregnant, but it's like 9 months. You, like, as soon as your family members tell you they're pregnant or you're pregnant, you know that before that baby, that seed was planted. That's that thought, that seed was planted. And before it burst out into a real human being, it has to go through certain trimester and certain stages and make it through there. And there are certain things that you need to do, certain things you can't do anymore, like drinking and drugs and stuff like that. You can't do that and expect a healthy outcome. That's the same thing when you're building your business. There are certain things you must get up and do every single day. There are certain things you can't do anymore because you're birthing something and you're going through the trimester. And so in order for you to make it through that first trimester, you got to do a lot of things, and you go through sickness and you're throwing up and you're doing all of this stuff, right? And you don't even tell some people about it in that first trimester, just so that once you make it through, you're cool, and the chances of the baby being healthy and getting to that next level. That's the same way your business idea works. You have to go through that stage of it in order to get it where you need it to be. And once you've been through so many stages and you birthed so many things and you made things happen, it just gets easier and easier and easier as you go down. See, on the competitive, hard-working level, is reverse. People spin their wheels. They're constantly chasing something. They're mentally drained. They're trying too much to outwardly make things happen by looking for people out there to become their source, instead of going in and talking to God and getting in his word and doing what he says and the examples that he left us with. And so that's what we want you to do. And this is why it's important, as you're building this, as you birth that baby, you got to form a vacuum. Like, the vacuum around the baby is that belly, and that, I think it's the uterus is in, wherever the baby's in, right? Inside your belly. Like the pioneer millionaire Abraham, you can get out of the old country by forming a vacuum, by learning to let go, give up, and make room for things you want and desire. That's a key. That's another biblical principle. You got to let go, give up, and make room for the things you want and desire. I'll tell you guys a quick story about letting go. Like, my niece, her baby is 1 or 2 years old. One. He's one. And Christmas was coming, so she packed up a bunch of his old toys and she gave them away to his daycare, so that when he got new gifts, she made room for it, right? So I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. So what you should consider doing, is every year teach him that. Do that with him. Have him start giving away stuff once or twice a year, giving away clothes, shoes, and going and do stuff for people, knowing that you got to start giving in order to receive and to make room. Like, teach him that principle at a young age. Oh, we got to go give something so we can make room for something new. And then that means you don't start to hold on to your past, to your current situation, to your neighborhood, to who you are, to who you were born to be. You are okay with letting go and becoming who you were born to be, who God saw you as. He said, I knew you before you were in your mother's womb. Let that person that he knew and he had greatness planned for, let that person come out. You should always want something better than you have now. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, somebody was like, oh man, you got a nice house. Why would you want, like, this is not my final destination. Like, that's what you always have to think. This is not my final destination, especially from my wealthy daddy. I know this ain't my final destination. I'm grateful for it, but it's not my final destination. That's what you want to start saying. I'm grateful for it, but I know it's not my final destination. That is the urge of progress. It's about the game. It's about being in the hunt. It's about developing. It's about growing. It's about getting mentally tough. It's about getting better. Like, all of these intangible things that people don't talk about, those are the things that develop your character, develop who you are, develop your greatness. It's the person, the man or woman that you become in pursuit of your journey. That's the most important thing. So you broaden your horizons of life as you expand inwardly and advance outwardly. It's in you. The God I see within me, the person within in me that's coming out that will expand and become the outer you. There must be a constant elimination of the old to keep pace with your new growth. If you cling to your old, you'll hinder your advance or you'll stop it altogether. So if you see things have stopped for you or they're not moving at the space that you want them to move, sit down and have some quiet time, do some meditation and see what you need to give up. What do you need to let go of? What do you need to make room for? This applies to your tangible possessions as well as your intangible ideas. Those thoughts, those ideas of, oh, because I'm a male or female, or I'm young or old, or I'm black or white, or I come from this neighborhood or that. Like all of those things are ideas that were planted by somebody, somewhere in your history. Does that mean that you have to carry them on, that you have to accept their ideology of how you think? You don't always have to accept that. You get the choice to choose how you want to choose. You can unblock and unclog your blessings by forming this vacuum, and countless people have done it with such amazing results. You can do it, and guess what? It just is a delightful act of faith. It's all about faith that will bring these inevitable results. That's where they come from. See, this is why some people never permanently create success, because they also get those old states of minds and those old habits and those old circumstances. You guys hear it said that, oh yeah, most people who win the lottery, they end up broke years from now. It's like a lot of people who got all this money from the government have nothing to show for it, and they back in that broke stage. Why? Because they didn't change inside. They didn't change who they were. See, that symbolizes the old country that Abraham left. So what do you need to leave? Is it your country? Is it your town? Is it your friends? Is it your family? What is it that you need to let go of so that you can go to where you were created to be? Form this vacuum around you in your inner way, and then on top of that, you also need to practice forgiveness, because that's another thing that will hold you back. Many people never permanently achieve success, no matter what they do, and they're not realizing that they are the ones who are blocking them from making that happen, because they need to forgive somebody from their past. They need to forgive, they need to have their forgiveness, because success cannot permanently live in a body unless people consciously make room for it. You have to make room for it, not only on an emotional level, but on a mental level as well. So just saying I forgive does not work. Just uttering that word does not work. If we look at the definition of forgive in the Webster's 1828 dictionary, and I always tell you guys to go to that dictionary because they relate it to the Bible. Forgive means verb, transit forgive, pretensive forgive, participle, passive forgive, to pardon, to remit as an offense or debt, to overlook an offense, and to treat the offender as not guilty. The original and proper phrase is to forgive the offense, to send it away, to reject it. That is not to impute it to the offender, but an easy transition. We also use the phrase to forgive the person offended. Forgive us our debts. And then this is the scripture that they use, right? If we forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. Matthew 6, chapter 6, verse 12, right? So you could see in the Webster 1828 dictionary, not only does it give you the definition at that time, but it also gives you a scripture that you can relate to. So it forgive, literally forgive and forget. Now, does that mean same conversation? I just got into a long one with my niece today. It was like 2.5 hours. We're on the phone. She's like, well, if I forgive them, do I have to still be around them? No, you don't. Because that toxic behavior can get on you. But that toxic behavior also has to be relieved from you. How do you know when it's gone? You know you don't feel like, if you still have it on you and they come around you, you just like, it just wells up in you. You know, when you're feeling that way, you know, the disgust, the thought that like, it just, ugh. So you gotta get that out of you. You go get help if you need to get help in order to get that out of you, so that you can let it go. And realize that forgiveness is not an unpleasant and dramatic outer act. It's not one where you're like, oh, I forgive you, and you're saying it and you don't really mean it, and it's coming from just the outside and it's just words out of your mouth, but it just has not formed in your heart. I'm sorry, when you're not. Instead, forgiveness is pleasant. It's an inner feeling that you get, is peace. It gives you peace. It leaves peace on you, and it also leaves peace on others. It's that energy where you can feel that, and you got to understand that, and you got to begin to make that work for you. If that's making sense to you, let me know if you're getting this. And I'm going to give you an affirmation that you can start saying daily that will help you give yourself a universal forgiveness, and something that you can begin to say right now. Like, just take a screenshot of this, zoom it out, take a screenshot, and start saying it. It is wise to give yourself a universal forgiveness treatment every day. This keeps your mind and your emotions cleared out of all negative feelings that can block you from making success happen. It also put together a forgiveness list. Like, you got a list of people you need to forgive. You got a list of circumstances that you need to forgive. Whatever it is, put together that list and write that out, and like, then start saying this today so you can heal. The healing is about you. You still angry about something that somebody don't even remember, but you still holding that anger in. Like, you got to let that stuff go. That stuff does not serve you. It does not help you. Like, I was telling somebody today, I was like, my dad has been gone over 30 years. I love my father like I was a daddy's girl. I remember 3 weeks after he died, because like, literally, when they told me, I fainted. I had never fainted since, or had never fainted before, but I literally passed out. And I remember having that mirror moment to say, okay, McReynolds, how do you want to live the rest of your life? I was 27. I said, how do you want to live the rest of your life? You can choose to go through life being sad, uh, feeling sorry for yourself, feeling like, however, or you can go through life and honor your father for being a great dad. You can be grateful for the fact that God gave you 27 years of an amazing dad that some people have never even experienced. You can think about all the ways that he smiled at you, how he made you feel, the lessons he taught you. How do you want to honor his memory? Do you want to honor that by being sad and miserable? Or do you want to honor that by that joy and that excitement and that thrill? Like, you got to choose these things. And you got to choose them in business. I tell you guys the story of 2008, when I was devastated when I lost everything, versus 2013, I think it was, when I lost not everything then, but a whole business making lots of money was just gone by a simple text. That didn't bother me one iota, because I had came to a place where I knew, okay, another idea is gonna pop up, and guess what? We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it do what it do. And that's how you got to look at it, because this is who you got to say, this is who I am. I know who I am. I know I'm a child of God. I know I'm a creator. I know I'm an entrepreneur. Like, entrepreneurs think differently. So if you have that feeling in you, if you know, no matter what it is, you don't need people, circumstances, or situations or money to come in order for you to go out and create and make something happen. You just got to have that idea and that faith, and then go do what God said do and make that happen. He will help you to make that happen. So you might say this in your faith affirmation daily for forgiveness. All that has offended me, I forgive within and without. I forgive things past, things present, things future. I forgive. I forgive everything and everybody who can possibly need forgiveness, of the past or the present. I forgive positively everyone. They are free now. And I am free too. All things are cleared up between us now and forever. Can you imagine saying that every day? I'm going to read that one more time. All that has offended me, I forgive. Within and without, I forgive. Things past, things present, things future, I forgive. I forgive everything and everybody who can possibly need forgiveness of the past or present. I forgive positively everyone. They are free now. I am free too. All things are cleared up between us now and forever. So that means that if you tick me off 10 years from now, I know I'm going to forgive you, right? It doesn't matter because nobody else determines how you feel, what you think, or what you do, but you. That's why you got to make those decisions to forgive so you can stop blocking your blessings. See, when you are ready for true success, these techniques that come from the Bible, these biblical principles from God, and when you start using them, nothing else works. Nothing else matters. You don't even think about that. See, this is what Abraham did when he left the posh, elegant Babylon with all of his obvious wealth and boldly went off into a barren land of Canaan. He didn't see anything there, but he had faith in the one who sent him, the one who said he should go. Abraham intuitively knew that all losing is not simply the losing of so-called evil or so-called things, that you must lose form of good as well when you're progressing or that of others demand on you. Your good is seldom static. Like it will never stay the same. Like we're human beings. We're always being, we're becoming. Good is the enemy of great. If it's good enough, if you're satisfied, that is that right there. If you ever hear yourself, oh yeah, I'm satisfied. Oh yeah, I got it. I got enough. I got what we need for my family. Then you're being selfish. Because it's not about you. It's about what you're going to do to help God's people. What are you going to do to help other people? So the money is not about you. It's not about creating so that you can buy, your houses, your cars. And ain't nothing wrong with that. You deserve to have all of that. But what are you going to do for someone else? How are you going to help make somebody else's life better? How are you going to advance the kingdom? This is what kingdom entrepreneurship is about. Your life is progressive. Your business is progressive. It's changing. It's evolving. You must change and you must evolve with it. In the land of Canaan, the land that looked like nothing, that business idea that seemed like nothing, this is where Abraham became rich at. I was just talking about, and I featured him, a screen of him last week, that the guy from Africa, a little young kid who was 19, 20 years old, took his idea and turned it into millions from TikTok, who had got laid off right before the pandemic hit, right? So it was an idea. This is what I want you guys to see. It's all ideal. So learn these lessons. Upon arriving in the land in Canaan, it looked so barren that he left it. So Abraham went to where God sent him. And he was like, whoa, there ain't nothing here. I'm out. And he decided to try his luck in Egypt. He went to somewhere where it was already prospering. How many times have you done that? How many times have you had a great idea and then the shiny object, something else that looked brighter over here, that looked less like, it looked easier. It looked like something that you should try instead, that you stopped doing what was initially in your heart to do. And you went over here because you thought it would be easier. Anybody? Yeah, I've done that before, right? Anybody? See, it doesn't matter. Success principles, whenever you create success, there's certain things that you're going to have to follow. It doesn't matter what the thing is. It's about what you do to possess the things. And this is why biblical principles are so important. And see, judging from appearance, most people go by appearance. Abraham had made a wise decision. Oh yeah, you shouldn't stay there. That's swampland. That's full of stuff, right? But guess what? Wherever you ain't supposed to be, it don't ever work out. He got into trouble in Egypt and he was forced to leave and return to the land of Canaan. See, if you don't go, God's gonna, come on, let's go. Everything's done for your good. Let's go. You stood over there long enough. Same thing your kids do, right? You tell them to go down this path, they go that path. And when they ready, because only so you got to turn them over to God, right? Because only so much you can do. There's only so much you can say. Like, you got to start thinking like he's our father. That's how he thinks as well. See, this may have happened to you, and in developing your millionaire conscious, your success consciousness. All of these things are important for you to think about. Why is that? See, because of something, if the grass is not always greener on the other side, I'm talking about from your spouses to that business that you think is better over there, or that relationship, or like whatever it is. Ask God where he wants you to be. Ask him what your calling is. Ask him, what do you have going on that I can get in on this season? Use me. What's that old song that said, use me till you use me up, right? You get like, let him use you. Die with everything that he gave you being used. And see, some people look at, oh, but this symbolized this, or they look at the material stuff or the labels and all. Like, no, that's not success. You just bought that. But in the inside, if you're miserable, you're going through this, you ain't giving to nobody and share, like you're gonna eventually lose it. I've been there. I know this to be true, right? Abraham only got into trouble in Egypt because he was ready for something more than mere rich appearances of wealth. He was ready to develop an inner understanding of supply, a mental and spiritual one. So in order for you to change who you are, and who, not what you have, not what you're getting, you have to start with who you are. And it has to be mental, and it has to be spiritual. It's like, how you used to pat your head, so just sit there and pat your head, rub your heart. You got to do both of them at the same time. And I haven't done this in a long time. We used to do this in school. You know how hard it is to pat and rub on one? That's what you're doing. You're trying to get both of these connected like I can pat both of them at the same time, but I can't do one. Let's see. Yeah, you can rub them both at the same time, but you can't pat but you got to get both of these connected together. You got to get that mental and that spiritual working together in order to make things happen. So you got to develop this inner understanding of supply, a mental and a spiritual. They have to be as one. They have to be equally yoked. Abraham was forced to return to the land of Canaan, which means realm of substance. That was a royal dominion, a kingdom. Genesis 1 through 26 through 28, it says, then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heaven, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over the creepy things that creep on the earth. So just right there, God said, we're making man in our own image, right? And they're going to have dominion. That's power. That's control over all of that stuff on the earth. So if you believe God's word, you got to believe that. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him male and female. He created them, and God blessed them. He blessed them. And God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it. What does subdue means, right? And have dominion over it. That means you have control over it. Like, you can do what you want to do. This is all of this I am giving to you, right? Over the fish, over the sea, over the birds of the heavens, and every living thing that moves on the earth. Nothing rules you. You rule it all. If you just have enough faith to believe that statement, the way you wake up or the way you go to bed tonight will be completely different than anything you've done in the past, because you get it and you understand it and you accept it. It took going to a barren place to gain an understanding of the divine substance. See, sometimes you guys have to lose stuff, like I did. Sometimes you have to have stuff taken away from you. Sometimes you have to have people that you trusted betray you. Sometimes you got to go through all of that stuff, and don't look at it as a death sentence or a victim sentence. It was just a process in the journey. But you got to be like, okay, all right, here we go again. Let's go for one more run. Let's go for another run. Let's get, because we know when we go for those runs what that means. Like, so you got to be willing and ready, but go at it this time from a mental, from a biblical standpoint, instead of this work to the brow type standpoint. You're still putting in the hours, you're still doing the 6-day work weeks, right? But it's completely different. It's with the joy, it's with the peace. It sometimes it takes you going through those things to realize that through the action of your mind, through how you think, how you ink, how you do, and how you say things, it will change your life. And you got to begin to practice this prosperity method, and by doing so, it will change what's in your bank account. It will change the wealth that you have. See, you got to get to the point of no return. What's the point of no return? See, like Abraham, even after you have learned the deeper mental and spiritual laws of prosperity, even after you hear this and you know that you've been changed, it's just like, you know how you were so in love with that guy until you wasn't anymore. We've all been there where we had that first love, that boyfriend that nobody could say anything to us until we got to that point where we're like, you know what? And then they're like, oh my God, I can't believe y'all are not together. No, because you know what changed. And you know, you can even go back to the moment. I'm thinking back now to the moment of my very first boyfriend. After being with him, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, I remember the moment I was like, I'm done. I'm over this. Finish. And from that point forward, you move on. That's how it has to be with your thought process of doing things the old way versus doing them God's way. And this is why this is important. See, your first attempt to return to the old methods is habits. It's not that nobody's calling you back there. It's just what you're used to and what you're accustomed to and what you're comfortable with. And that's where a lot of people turn to. It's like Abraham in Egypt. You will quickly discover that this stuff no longer works for you. And you're ready to learn and take hold of invisible substance, even though it looks barren and inadequate to you. When I had that conversation about my dad, it was looking barren. It was like, I remember, because I had to get through the process. I had to take care of my mom, my nieces, my nephews, get everything, work with my siblings. Like, so I wasn't able to emotionally break down. How am I going to break down when I'm responsible for other people, right? You can't break down. It was 3 weeks later, and then I broke down, and I just cried and I cried and I cried for hours, just me and God. And I let it all out. And then I got up, put my big girl panties on, and was like, okay, have that mirror moment. That's the same thing you have to do with your dreams and your business when they fall. But I promise you, as many businesses that you may go through in your journey, they don't hurt the same. They don't feel the same. The losses, the ups, the downs, you get over them. Why people think you're still stuck on something in the past, your mind and went to something else. You're working on something else. You're doing something else. You ain't even thinking about that anymore. That's how you have to stay so laser focused. That's called getting to the point of no return. Like, they can't create a word game to send you back to the person you used to be, because you became someone different. Is that making sense to you? You're ready to begin the practice of manifesting that invisible substance, having that faith, and just calling things into your life and activating it by the power of faith. That's the magical part of it. See, when you use the method of faith to acquire things, it changes you. Once you learn to operate from faith, you'll never, ever, ever depend on the outer competitive methods. You'll never depend on supplies. You'll never depend on someone's resources or people. Like, none of that ever matters. It's like, okay, God, whoever, oh, okay, thank you. You were supposed to be in my life so that I know whether I'm ready to move to that next level. Oh, you think that was going to bother me? Like, come on, right? Really, devil? That's all you got? Like, really? Go read the book of Job, y'all, and you'll understand what I'm saying. You will gain an inner hold of faith, the substance of things hoped for. You will learn how to call things that are not, that things that are visible, into reality as you want them to be. It will supply you with a fascinating, soul satisfying process that will give you so much faith over fear every time. Like, failure is not ever an option in your life. Will things not happen the way you want them to happen? Will you have setbacks? Absolutely. But guess what? You now know and understand it was all part of the journey. You will never fear lack again. You will never fear anything being taken from you. You will never fear not having success. You will never think about another man, woman, or credit or any of that supplying your source, because you know they're not your source. God is your source, right? Abraham proved this when he returned to the land of Canaan and settled down there. And you can use his faith methods to grow your next business or your first business. And you can manifest all of this through the supply pictures, like that you could, I always say, you have to see it before you seize it, right? And one of the ways that Abraham took a hold of this invisible substance and manifested and turned it into wealth in his life is through the picture, like he saw it in his mind. You need to be able to see it before you see it. You need to be able to close your eyes and you can see the academies, the schools, the buildings, the people being served, everything that's like I'm building an academy, I'm building a school system. I can see the signs on the outside, with the Wall Street ticker going around it, the people in the academy teaching, the lives being changed, the different countries we're in, the people we're helping, the people we're serving, the events that we're putting on, the stadiums that are rocking, and all of that stuff. You can see that, right? I saw the book before the book became a book, right? I saw the stuff that we were going to do before it became the stuff that it is. These are the things you have to see. See, in the land of Canaan, he even came up against his own flesh and blood. His nephew and him, their wealth increased so much and so rapidly that it began to be bickering between them. And finally, that land was not able to bear both of them because their substance was so great. The stuff that they have accumulated was so great. That was in Genesis 13:6. And because of their strife that arose among their herdsmen, they decided to separate. See, sometimes you got to separate. Sometimes, and what he did, you got to be the bigger person. Abraham was a true gentleman. He was a pioneer aristocrat. He generously offered Lot whatever land he chose. Like, yo, dude, I'm not arguing with you. You want it, you can have it. Because this is like, what's for me is for me. You need this, here, take it. Like, you got to be that way. Here, take it. Go have it. Have at it. Have success with it. Lot judge according to appearance and took the greener, prosperous plain of the Jordan because he thought what it looked like is what was going to happen. So this is what he took. It was well watered and considered the garden of the Lord. What Lot didn't know was the plain of Jordan was filled with warlike tribes. And I already just said, if you got negativity, it can't exist with goodness. Later, when he got into battle with that, Abraham graciously rescued him. See, sometimes you might have to be that person that go back and rescue the same people who betrayed you, who you betrayed you, but you learned to forgive them. Even if you had never had to outwardly say it to them, you in your heart knew how to let it go. These are important principles that people don't talk about, but these are the things that will transform your life if you allow it to. See, what looks like leftovers, I call them blessovers. They become blessed overs. You don't get leftovers. You get the best of the best, right? When Lot was taken what he considered to be the best of the land, Abraham was left to live on the barren land of Canaan. Y'all see what happened to the end of that story, right? Instead of fretting about the apparent wealth that had been taken from him by his ambitious nephew, Abraham graciously released it and had faith in what God said. It's not that's what the whole key is having faith in what God says. Genesis 13, 14, and 15 is in chapter 13, verse 14 and 15. It says, lift up now thy eyes and look from the place where thou art, northward and southward, eastward and westward, for all the land which thou seest, to thy will I give, and to thy seed forever. This is what God said to him. And he believed him. and you are part of his seed. So you believe him, believe what he says. Remember, God has promised permanent success to Abraham and his descendants if they dare to claim it. That's your job, is to now go claim and go get what was given to you. Learn an invaluable success secret. God instructed him to picture what he wants, to think it, say it, see it, ink it. Abraham motivated his tents to the plain of the mature in the land of Hebron. From this episode, you learn an invaluable success secret. What was that success secret? One, Abraham did not sulk when Lot took the rich land. So when you lose stuff, don't sulk about it. Don't complain about it. Don't whine about it. Don't don't relive it. Stop reliving that. Stop talking about it all the time. Abraham let him have it. Just give it away. Just give it. Here, you want it, take it. It's just like if you have kids that are arguing over, here, take it. Have your heart be more concerned about making somebody else feel good instead of you getting something, especially if it's a material thing. And then from that moment, he was like, okay, you got this. And then what he started doing, he started picturing his own increase holdings in all directions. He went back to what the word said, to the north, to the east, to the south, to the west. All of this I give to you. All of this. So how can you be worried about this one little plot of land when all of this he has given to you? How can you be worried about this one little business or this one betrayal when all of this he has given to you? But he even went further, y'all. He moved into the land of Hebron, which symbolized concentration and abundant ideas. That's the key: concentration and abundant ideas. Schematically picturing what you want is not good enough. Just sometimes thinking about it. No, all the time. This is where affirmations, I call them faithformations, come into play. I've given you some. That means you're reading them day and night. You're reading the word day and night. You're meditating on it day and night. This is how you develop your faith. This is how your faith gets strong, because you're always focusing in on God's word, what he says. Use the faithformations. Affirmations are great, but faithformations are greater. So use the faithformations, use the biblical, what God's word said. In order to produce worthwhile results, you must too concentrate on abundant ideas. This is what God bursts us with. He had the idea, let there be light, and there was what? Light. These are ideas. Like, you have to ask yourself, how are you, what the ideas that you have, how are you bringing them forward? What are you doing with those ideas? This is a secret of demonstrated increased supply. It's being mature. It's being abundantly supplied. It's being like, if you can take that one idea and birth it, guess what? You're gonna have other ideas, and you're gonna be able to birth them. And what this does is how, here's how to remind yourself to faith what you want. You got to faith it, not fake it until you make it. You have to faith it until you claim it, right? Here's a faithformation for you. I picture my wealth, health, and happiness and bring it through to me rather than trying to reason it through or force it through. You don't have to reason nothing. You don't have to force it. You don't have to make it happen. I'm quick to see my wealth, health, and happiness through my faith and belief in God. Everything you have comes from God. All your health, your wealth, your success, your happiness, all that comes from God. Just turn to him. You didn't got to turn to another person, a business, none of that. None of that matters. That's what I want you to see. None of that matters. It all comes from God. So take a picture of this. I'll say it again. I picture my wealth, health, and happiness and bring it through to me rather than trying to reason it through or force it through. I'm quick to see my wealth, health, and happiness through my faith and belief in God. That's what it's about. This is what you need to say. And then you need to protect your prosperity, protect your success. In the land of Hebron, Abram sealed or protected his prosperity by doing something that ancient people often did when their prayers have been answered. He built an altar to God, right? When the Hebrews built altars and they gave sacrifices, these acts carried financial significance. It meant that they made financial offerings to Jehovah. They often built altars and they gave faith offerings, which I'm going to talk to you about what that is, before their prayers were answered. Then they built altars and gave thank offerings in appreciation for after their prayers and had been answered, and they got what they thought about, right? They felt that giving before a prayer was answered and opened the way to receive that answer. So giving is always a way. So some of the ways you can give online is like every Thursday I come on here and I'm giving broadcasts. You can give live broadcasts. You can give away free books. You can give away free PDFs. You can go in groups and answer questions. These are ways that you can give, serve, help. You can, if you're just getting started, you can get a bunch of people together, give them a half price, a discount on you, or do some services for free in exchange for some testimonies. Like, you got to give. So they felt the act of giving, answering their prayers, helped seal or protected the results and make them permanent. This is how you make success permanent. See, Abraham giving at that point indicated his thanks, and that the good he had received and success he had received because of the faith, he knew that he would come in and it would be always increasing for him. It would always grow to different degrees and different level. His gift was both a faith offering and a thank you offering. See, this old age prosperity technique still works for today. I just gave you some examples of how you can use that. A woman of wealth said, when anything negative happens to me, I know it's an indication that I have not been given enough. I always get busy and give either a faith offering or a thank offering to protect my wealth. Go give a faith offering, go give a thank offering. This method has always prospered and protected her. This is what she said. So here's some scriptures on faith offering. In 2 Corinthians 9:7 says, each one must give as he decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. So are you cheerful in your giving, right? So you got to be cheerful. And Mark 12:41 through 44 says, and he sat down opposite the treasure and watched the people putting in this is Jesus speaking, money into the offering box. Many rich people put in large sums, and a poor widow came and put in 2 small copper coins, which make a penny. And he called his disciples to him and said to them, truly I say to you, this poor widow has put in more than all those who are contributing to the offering box, and they were pennies. For they all contribute out of their abundance, but she, out of her poverty, has put in everything she had and all she had to live on. That's faith. That's faith, knowing that God's word said something and you just gave everything you had. There's so many stories of that in the Bible. And this is what a faith offering. Check your heart. Are you cheerful about it? And don't just give from your abundance, but give something that you really love and it means something to you, right? Those are the key things. Give that. And then your faith offerings and your thanks offering. Luke 6:38 says, give and it will be given to you. Good measures, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. Hebrews 13:15. Through him, then let us continually offer up a sacrifice of praise to God, that is the fruit of the lips and the knowledge of his name. So when we praise him, when we say his name, when we give thanks to him, then that's our thanks offering. When we give him the credit, God gets all the glory, right? When you say that, you give him thanks. That's his thank offering. Psalm 69:30 said, I will praise the name of God with a song. I will magnify him with thanksgiving. When you sing and you praise to him and you sing and you enjoy and you're doing that's giving thanks. That's showing your thanks and your appreciation. But if you want to lavishly go to that next level, lavishly have success, lavishly prosper, Lot has the example here. It says, when Lot got involved with the enemy forces who occupied the plain of Jordan, Abraham graciously rescued him, right? So Lot symbolized a negative side of faith that judge according to their appearance and has to learn that things are usually not what they seem, right? But Abraham graciously, from his heart, rescued him. He didn't have to graciously, like, all right, I don't want to do it because, dude, to mess me over. So I really don't want to do it, but I'm going to go do it. No, he graciously, from his heart, he went and saved him. That's what you have to do. You have to graciously go serve people. So if you're one of those people who are serving people just because you're serving people, but it's not from your heart, it's to be seen. Like even in the word, it says that, you ain't got to tell everybody about it. Even the Bible tells you not to tell everybody. Because when you do, when you go tell somebody how you're helping somebody, first of all, you don't think about how that might make the person that you help feeling. Like these posts that people put on social media, like, oh yeah, I'm feeding the homeless today, or yeah, I'm giving away meals, and they're like blasting this out. Pitch people. First of all, think about that person. Maybe they don't want to be blasted on social media showing their business. Number two, God said if you have to go out and announce that and show that, that's your gratitude. That's your return. That's your reward. But if you keep your mouth shut and you just do it because you're graciously doing it, he'll take care of you. So that you got to check yourself on those things. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? And upon returning home from victory in battle, Abraham then tithed. Okay, here's the next one. People say tithing is old. You say what you want to say, but I still say it's important. Abraham tithed a tenth of his vast wealth gathered in battle. He gave the fortune to the highest priest of Salem. In return, the priest blessed him, and God made Abraham a promise that carries vast financial significance for us today. So Abraham took it not only for himself, he took it for us so that we can have the best. And in Genesis 15:1, it says, fear not, I am the shield and thy exceeding great reward. You got to know who your reward is and why giving is so good. Although that act of tithing was an ancient prosperity practice, many of our modern millionaires attribute still doing that to this day is the reason why their wealth remains and why it stays the same. Why is that? Because giving is good. Serving is good. Helping people is good. But consistent giving through the act of tithing 1/10 of what all receives to God works even far better. It's his money anyway. What you do with that other 90% is what really matters. Don't even think about the 10. It's the 90 that you have to be a good steward over. As promised, Abraham, those who tithe are not only prospered exceedingly, even lavishly, but they also protected from their negative experiences of life. And guess what? You may tithe and something still negative happen. It's okay. It's a season. It does not last forever. Vast wealth also brings the need for vast protection. Tithing gives that assurance, y'all. And this is why the Hebrew secret name for prosperity is something that you need to know and understand. Later, Abraham attempted to even sacrifice his son Isaac, thinking he should do that. And then God's like, yo, whoa. I see your faith, bud, but no, you don't have to do that. That's not necessary. And Abraham, because he took his child and he put him there, going there, knowing what God said, and knew that God, with a ram in the bush when you need something, he's going to always provide that. He came up with the name of sacrifice, Jehovah Jireh, declaring jubilant in the mount of Jehovah it shall be provided in Genesis 22:14. God will provide. Jehovah Jireh. That means that he is your provider. You're excited. You're jubilant about it. You know he will always come through. And when you know that, you have no reason to ever worry about anything. All you got to do is act on those ideas that he gave you to. He's using us. And we're the bodies to carry out his assignment and do the things that he needs us to do. Jehovah Jireh was the Hebrew's mystical name for prosperity. It meant the Lord will provide for you regardless of any opposing circumstances, any financial limitations, anything that you face. God will provide for you. You don't need any of that stuff. So here's a millionaire promise for you. Along with the other prosperity methods Abraham used to become the Bible's first historical millionaire, he employed a basic prosperity principle that you can also use often. He constantly, number one, he constantly asked Jehovah for guidance, and he received it. So are you going to God about your business? Are you asking God to guide you? Like, I have a habit when I'm writing something or I'm putting something together or doing some training, we're like, okay, God, like, don't let my words come out, let your words come out. Let me do what you need me to do. Use me, speak through me. I'm just your vessel that you can use. Are you going to God, and are you asking him to use you? Well, and we all need to do that more often. Do you wake up in the morning with, like, okay, God, what you need me to do today? How can I serve you today? How can I be of help, right? Abraham proved the prospering power of that statement. I do not depend on persons or conditions for my success. God is the source of my supply, and God provides his own amazing channels of success to me now. Like, this is how you're forever changed. Know who your supplier is, know who your source is, know where it comes from. When you know that, you can't get mad at somebody else. You can't hold grudges against somebody else. You can't hold on to that because you know that because of your faith is the reason why you prosper. And see, in return for his faith, God made Abraham this promise of unlimited good that will not only go to him, but will go to his heirs. That included vast wealth, many heirs, and a longed for promised lands for his descendants. You can read about that in Genesis 20, chapter 22, 17 and 18, right? For Abraham, we learn patience also. It may not happen when you think it should happen in the year or the decade or the season you think it should happen, but you got to be patient in the process. And it was many years before he even became like all of this began to take place for him, right? It's so don't fret because of that. You just got to stay excited long enough to get the job done, no matter how long it takes. And he taught them to believe as they waited. As you wait, stay in faith. As you wait, say your faith formations. As you wait, know that your time is not the same as God's time. Your understanding is not the same as God's understanding. But what you do know is that his word is his word, and he cannot go back on his word. It really will not return void. What he said will happen will happen. And when you know this, you just, it's like waiting, knowing that good is going to come to you. Greatness is going to come to you. Everything that you desire, that ideal is going to be birthed. That baby is going to be born. That baby is your business. And the only way that this can happen is through faith. And without faith, y'all, it's impossible to please God. See, the Bible summed up his success. It said Jehovah had blessed Abraham in all things. This is Genesis 24 and 1. In all things. The millionaire promise applies to you too, as you follow Abraham's example in invoking the prospering power of faith through the use of these dynamic laws of prosperity, which includes his use of release, forming a vacuum, forgiveness, picturing, prospering affirmations, tithing, giving, thanks offerings, and faith offerings. And through all of this, you go get what was yours. You go get and claim your heritage of wealth on all levels of your life, your health, your wealth, your prosperity, all of that. You get busy helping your dreams come true by daily declaring them. I have faith in God. I have faith in people. I have faith in things. This is how Abraham became a millionaire, and how you can too. See, Abraham Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph became rich through deliberate use of the power of prospering thinking. And this is why we're doing this millionaire sequence. And you want to go back and catch the ones that you didn't see and get caught up. And as we go through this, we're going to be diving into all of them, the millionaires and the billionaires and the millionaires. And we're going to go through their life, what they did, the secrets that they shared, and how you can develop them as well. And keep in mind Deuteronomy 8:18, but thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee the power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant which he swore unto thy fathers, as it is to this day. So make sure you join in on the discussion each week for the first quarter of 2022 as we dive deep into the millionaires and the 1 billionaire and the first woman millionaire of the Bible, and how to capitalize on it even through troubles, even through your past, even to your present, how to create the will and the act of confidence and create that passion in that product or the service, and uncover the list of reasons why you can't, so that you can remove them and unblock what you have and decide if you're teachable and inspired to carry out that idea that God has given you, and be able to implement that discipline and get those skills and the fortitude to do the hard work. And that's on yourself, right? To get yourself right, to clear your path so that your greatness can come blazing through for you, to determine where you're going to be your best at, and what it means for you in the terms of financial success, what it means for you in terms of where you need to live at, where it means for you in terms of who you need to be around, how to fall in love with the process and let God direct your steps in your business and your life. So guys, I hope that brought you value today. Join us next week as we continue our series in the millionaires in the book of Genesis, the mystical millionaire of Melchizedek. And don't forget to join either our membership or our academy, where we go into deep dive about these principles, and we show you how to either go from start to finish and start and grow your business from that idea that you have. When you make that decision to make that happen, I just want you to know I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you because it takes courage to do something different. It takes faith to step out and become who God created you to be and who you really are. No matter which path you choose, whether it's working with us or working with someone else, just choose one. Wherever you feel God is leading you to, choose that. You come with us, I'm here to support you 100%, and you can definitely count on that. And remember, I told you that gift awaits you. We want to be able to send you some stuff in the mail to your front door to make life great for you, so that you can enjoy this process, enjoy this journey, jump on Zooms with us, have conversations with us. And if you have questions, I'm about to hop over here in a second. You can go, I'm going to look and see if there's any, or if you have questions, you can let me know what questions you have. You can always call us at 1-833-BIBLE-BIZ, or you can text us there. I will personally answer, or Bob, one of our consultants, will answer on that, or you can email me at info@kathymcreynolds.com. Get in one of our memberships, get in our academies. You can learn more about that at BibleBusinessAcademy.com. So let me go ahead and switch back over here and see if there are any questions. I see a few in the chat here, and let's see. All right, let's see what we have. Okay, so Isaiah. Hey, Isaiah, what's up, buddy? You said amen and great message. Yes, like this is from God. He gets all the glory on this one. Good to hear from you, buddy. Hope all is well. And we got Karen said, just joining, we'll watch the replay. We'll definitely hit that replay button, girl. Let's make this happen. Let's impact and let's change some lives over here. I don't see anything else. I see if you have something and you're on here, you can go ahead and do this, guys. I just want to remind you that you can download our free report on how to grow a business with biblical principle, go to BibleBusinessAcademy.com, BibleBusinessAcademy.com. Download our free report there. It will also then, once you get that report, it will send you to the option where you can get our book. You can get our book. You can get it for free if you get it through us. You can get our book free through us at BibleBusinessAcademy.com /book. And then you can also get a copy of our planner at, I'm trying to find it right here. Where is it? Oh, here we go. A copy of the planner at believeandgrowrich.org. Make sure you get this, man. I'm telling you, these things and these ideas, these thoughts that God is putting in us, this will help you to be able to make those decisions. So let's go. Let's make it happen. Let's do this for God. Let's grow the kingdom. Let's change some lives together. Join our membership, join our academy. Let us help you take that idea and turn it into in your business, your income, and become and do what God created you to do in this season. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a wonderful and blessed day, and we shall talk to you later. All right, see ya.